guys, it's Gamer Ahmer here. So today we're going to talk about some of my most notable and expensive video games in my collection. Now with so many to choose from, I decided to pick my top 10. So let's go ahead and check it out. So first up, we actually have this huge box set over here. So this is one of my personal favorites in my collection. I've seen it sell for over $1,000 in a certain condition. So this one is actually the Maximum Carnage Box Set, and it's in this really awesome outer box. So when you open this up, this was actually only available through QVC, and they made it for the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo. So of course the game that I have in here is the Sega Genesis version of Maximum Carnage. Of course it has all of these Marvel characters on here, and then it even has this outer sticker that says Special Limited Edition Red Cartridge. So this is definitely pretty awesome. I do have this game loose and I do love playing it, but I have this one still sealed. This box set actually came with this pretty awesome book right here with tons of comics in here. So it says Stan Lee presents Spider-Man, Carnage, and then we have all of these different comics all in one. So this is really a great set right here. And then of course it says Certificate of Authenticity, and this says Marvel Comics. This certifies that this 1994 Maximum Carnage box set is part of a limited edition series of 5,000 created to meet Marvel Comics' highest quality standards. So this is really awesome to have in the collection, and it even comes with these really cool pin sets. So we have these 3 characters from the game. So this is really a great and awesome set. It looks pretty sweet in this huge outer box, and then to have everything in this fully complete set is just pretty amazing, as I actually scored this for less than a couple $100, and that was a few years ago. So I still can't believe I scored this for the price I did, considering it goes for thousands nowadays. So this is just a great game in the collection. So next up we move on to this big boxed Earthbound for the Super Nintendo. Now I did pay a pretty penny to find this and add it to the collection, as it's very difficult to find this guidebook in there, and to have all of those 6 cards in the guidebook is just pretty difficult to find. So this one is in pretty decent shape. It actually has everything in here, and the box isn't too bad looking. So I actually keep it in this protective film, and then we have everything else inside. So here is the guidebook that comes with the game. So this is Earthbound Player's Guide. So of course everything is very crispy on here, and the most difficult part when you're searching for these books is this back page right here. So this actually has 6 of these character cards, and you can go ahead and scratch on them to reveal a particular smell. So it's pretty difficult to find these fully intact, as you would mail this one in to try and win a prize. So this is definitely pretty awesome to have this included in this big box. And then of course we have all of this cardboard to hold the game, and then this protective sleeve over top. So here we have this very minty copy of Earthbound. So this looks like it's in beautiful shape, and this is a great game right here. This is definitely one of my favorites, and I really enjoyed playing this game. And then just looking at the box here, you'll notice that we have this huge box compared to a regular Super Nintendo game. It says Free Player's Guide, bonus inside. It even has the original Kmart sticker on here, which it says $69.99. So I would have loved to pay that price for this game, but unfortunately I did pay several hundred to add this to the collection. And then the back has some pretty awesome images from the game, And then all of these sculpted characters on the back. Makes it look pretty awesome. And then next up we have this game box right here. So this is actually a press kit for Conker's Bad Fur Day. So this is definitely one of my prized possessions for the Nintendo 64. This is a pretty awesome box set as it comes with a lot. So if we just lift up this top part right here, you'll notice that we have this Conker's Bad Fur Day press kit. So of course the only thing that I'm still missing in here is the VHS tape that came along with this press kit. Of course that would show you some images of the gameplay. And this was actually sent out to a lot of store owners back in the day when this game actually released on the Nintendo 64. So the idea was to have this contest and whoever pre-sold the most amount of games would actually win. So they'd send store owners a copy of the game, this VHS tape, which actually you'd show in the store and have all of this gameplay. And then it came with this pretty wacky promo item. So these are actually jelly beans, and it makes it look like this pill bottle. Now these are the original jelly beans, so these are very old, and you can see a lot of the discolor on them. So it says Conker's Bad Fur Day, take as needed for MSD, mad squirrel disease, oral use only, no refills. And then of course we have this t-shirt which had one of the wacky images of Conker. So this says Conker cures mad squirrel disease, nausea, dizziness, or the Playmate of the Year awards. Which would you choose? The goal is simple. Pre-sell as many copies as possible in your region, and you plus 9 of your peers will conquer the mansion at the Playboy Mansion in Beverly Hills, California on April 26th. You will receive airfare, hotel accommodations, cash, and transportation. Nintendo is supporting this cure with a national 5-week TV campaign running February 26th through April 1st, and for guys 17 and older that will be affected most by this disease will be there in the March and April issues of their favorite men's magazines and in the top 10 college markets in bars, restaurants, and on campus. So this press kit is very expensive, especially if you try and find it fully complete. I'm still looking for the VHS tape, but I've seen quite a few sell since then. I'm just waiting to find a really good deal on it. And then on the back here it talks about dosage, warning, and it even has a recipe for key lime pie. So on the side here it tells you what mad squirrel disease is, just different symptoms, and it even has an expiration date of 02-2002, and then it just has a little bit more information on the box. So this is a really cool piece in the collection, and it's just crazy to think about as several years before, Nintendo was deemed as that family-friendly company, and then to produce such a risky game, and then to display and advertise all of these Conker's Bad Fur Day images in Playboy magazines and other men's magazines and just have them all over campuses was just insane at the time. I actually do have some of those magazines with these particular displays and advertisements in them, so it's just insane to me that Nintendo would have done that, especially after a time where they were deemed as the family-friendly console. So this is just pretty crazy and a great piece of history right here. Now onto this side. So you'll notice that this is a newer collector's edition of a particular game for the PC. So this is actually a lot different than a standard collector's edition. So this is the Elder Scrolls Online Morrowind Collector's Edition. And this is actually signed on the front here by all of the developers of the game. So this is pretty awesome, as you don't see many items that are signed, and I have not seen another one just like this. So I actually won this through a contest that my local radio station, 98 Rock Baltimore, had hosted, and I entered, I won this thing, and this is just so cool. It really looks great on display. It's so awesome that I won the collector's edition that's actually signed. So it has all of these different signatures all over the front of this sleeve, and I actually kept this still sealed because I wanted to display it and show it off in the collection. And this is just a great piece that I still can't believe I won, as it's not often that I win these contests, and this is a radio station that I listen to a lot, so this is really sweet, and this has a great story behind it. And then we have this Nintendo 64 game. So if you know anything about the full set of the games, you'll know that Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut is probably the most difficult game to find, as it's very expensive and it's hard to find one in great condition like this one. So this one does not have that tacky Blockbuster sticker on the front, so this is really great looking on the shelf. So this was probably one of the easier ones for me to find, as I actually found this one local at one of my game stores. They've since closed down. So this is the one from my local Blockbuster. On the back it actually has a Baltimore phone number on here. So this one means a lot to me, as I actually went to Blockbuster a lot as a kid, and I would often rent movies, video games, and I just remember our family would make it this whole movie night where we'd get tons of candy and all kinds of other items with particular movies and games that we rented. So this is the Clay Fighter Sculptor's Cut. This goes for a pretty penny, several $100s, and that's just loose, so trying to find it in the original box or sealed is just very hard to do, and near impossible if you're looking for a sealed copy. So this one had to make the list. And then on to this sealed item. So this right here, I actually scored several years ago, and I'm glad that I did, because I thought it was a lot of money at the time. I think it was just under $200 for this. So this is the Mega Man 9 press kit that Capcom actually released and gave out to several people. So this is a great item. This is actually still sealed, and this doesn't actually have the game on it. This is more so art and game information on this disc in here, and it actually has this pretty cool Nintendo cartridge style that actually holds the disc. So this is a really awesome press kit, and this is a great collector's item, and I've seen this go for several $100s as well, especially sealed, and a lot of people have since gotten these graded, and that is just insane, because those go for over $1,000 if they're graded and in very pristine shape. So this even still has that $9.99 sticker price tag on it. So this is a great item in the collection. And then on to this sealed game that I have in my collection. I actually have a protective case for it. So this is Perfect Dark for the N64. And you may be wondering, what's so special about a sealed Perfect Dark game? Well, this actually has this pretty awesome sticker on the back. It says, "Employee purchase, Nintendo of America strictly prohibits resale of any product for profit." So this would have actually been offered to Nintendo employees at the time to purchase this game, and someone had kept it still sealed, kept the original sticker on here, and they weren't supposed to sell it. So I'm not sure if it was given away or they sold it several years later. So this is a great item for my Nintendo 64 collection, and that sticker really makes it perfect. And then moving on to this Sega Genesis game in my collection. I actually got this from a buddy of mine. He really hooked me up on the price. So of course this is a complete in-box game for the Sega Genesis. This is probably my most expensive Sega Genesis game in the collection, and this is one of the most notable just because this is an awesome shoot-'em-up style game, and this is called Musha, which stands for Metallic Uniframe Super Hybrid Armor. And of course we have the instruction manual and the cartridge in here. Everything is in very great shape, and this is a really fun and difficult game, one of the best shoot-'em-up style games on the Sega Genesis, and I just am excited that I have this in the collection, as this is a great and fun game to play. And then moving on to the last two games that I'm featuring in this video. So these two games are of course Atari 2600 games. So here we have the first one. This is Beat 'em and Eat 'em. So this is from Mystique. This is of course an adult video game cartridge, and this is still sealed. Now I do have a playable copy in the collection along with the other games as well. So this is one of these pretty rare items, especially to find nowadays, and to see it still sealed is just pretty crazy. So this game says on it, not for sale to minors. So if you know anything about this company or anything about these particular Atari 2600 games, you'll know that they should have not been made, especially for children on the Atari 2600. These are very adult style games, and they're just insane that someone even created these style games and had them sold. So of course, back in the day, before we had rating systems on the video games and movies and everything like that, these games were actually for sale in several stores. And of course, when people started realizing what these particular games were and the sexual nature in these games, they actually pulled a lot of them from the shelves. They weren't able to be sold in certain stores anymore, and a lot of them would actually hold these games behind the counter. So if you knew about these games and you wanted them, you could ask, but most likely you probably weren't looking for these games at the time. So these games are highly sought after by collectors nowadays, and they're just really great to have on display in the collection and for the history of video games. So of course we have this copy of Beat 'em and Eat 'em, and then we have Custer's Revenge right here. So I'm still looking for a few others sealed. Now I do have several playable copies of these games in particular along with Bachelor Party, but I still need a sealed copy of that. So of course we have this Custer's Revenge game, which is also very provocative as well, and it also says adult video game cartridge, not for sale to minors. So these are just great ones in the collection, and they really look great on my Atari 2600 shelf. So I often get asked, what are your most expensive video games in your collection? So these are 10 of my most notable items in my collection. These games are the ones that come to mind immediately when people ask those questions. And some of these are just my favorites, and they have some great stories behind them on how I actually found them. And I just scored most of these for amazing deals. So these are among my top 10 favorite ones in my collection. Now, of course, while making this video, I realized that I missed out on several other games, and I decided that I will be working on another one of these videos in the future. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that, as I'll have some other great items and games that I missed in the collection while making this video. So let me know in the comments below which one of these items is your favorite in my collection. And of course, if there's any that you have seen in a room tour or a previous video that I missed out on, go ahead and drop those down below in a comment, and I'll make sure that I put them in the next video that I make on my rare and expensive games in my collection. So of course, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go ahead and check out my other videos and stay tuned for more.